Hello, I'm Pat Kimbro from Liberty Bank, and today we'll be discussing debit cards and credit cards. Our goal with this video is to answer the basic questions and provide you with a better understanding of these cards and how to make the most of your money. Studies show that Americans use the combination of debit cards and credit cards more than cash and checks for purchases. With the rapid rise of debit cards, also known as check cards, many consumers don't understand the difference between the different types of plastic. Although we hope to clarify this for you, the question of whether to use a debit or credit card is a very subjective question, and the answer will differ from person to person. The primary difference between the two cards is the source of funds that are behind the purchases made with the card. Debit cards are connected to a checking account and use the available funds in that checking account for purchases. Credit cards serve as your convenient access to a line of credit, allowing the cardholder to borrow money for the purchase. That borrowed money will be paid off at a later date and may incur interest payment as well as the original purchase price. Please check with your current card provider for specific features and charges that may be assessed on your debit or credit cards. Don't forget to compare the rewards that are offered on your card of choice. Cash back, merchants discounts, airline points, and more are offered with some debit and credit cards. For our discussion today, let's focus on debit card advantages and disadvantages and how those compare to a credit card. First, a few advantages of debit cards. Real money. No cost transactions. No finance charges. Locally issued. Real money. A recent study shows that 60% of those surveyed prefer to use a debit card over a credit card. The primary reason stated is because it feels more like real money, which is true since the debit card is using the real funds you have available in your checking account, rather than a line of credit established by a credit card provider. No cost transactions. Savvy debit card users also take advantage of the fact that these transactions are no cost to you. In most cases, a debit card is provided by a bank or financial institution at no charge, and there are no transaction fees when using your debit card. No finance charges. There are no finance charges on debit card purchases. The funds used for the purchase are simply removed from your checking account's available balance. The possibility of being assessed additional finance charges does exist with a credit card if you don't pay your credit card bill in full each month. Locally issued. Another advantage is that your debit card is likely issued by your local bank, which gives you the convenience of access to live and local customer service. Of course, there are also disadvantages to using a debit card. Let's discuss some of those. No float benefit. Risk of overdraft fees. Daily spending limits. Exposure to fraud and theft. No float benefit. Float is the period between the time you make a purchase and when you actually pay for that purchase. What does that mean to you? It may be wise to make purchases with a credit card and keep your money in your checking account, earning you interest as long as you can. That time period could be as long as 30+ days between your credit card statements. Risk of overdraft fees. Very similar to bouncing a check, some financial institutions allow you to overdraft your checking account when using your debit card. Doing so will likely incur an overdraft fee being assessed to your checking account. Please check with your bank for their specific overdraft plan. Daily spending limits. There are daily spending limits attached to your debit card. Although the card connects to your checking account, and in theory you could have access to the entire balance of your account, debit card providers always put a daily spending limit on your debit card. Liberty Bank debit cards are set with a $1,500 daily combined limit for purchases. Why? For security and to reduce the risk of your funds should fraudulent activity occur. These limits can be altered if needed for special circumstances such as traveling, anticipated larger purchase, etc. Contacting your bank and making the request is the place to start. Exposure to fraud and theft. The security of either card is very important as well. As with any personal information, it's a must that you safely and securely use and safeguard your cards. Since the debit card accesses your checking account funds immediately, any fraud activity could put your checking account funds at risk. I assure you that protection exists on both cards and is geared to benefit you. Let's review. The choice of which card to use likely depends on several factors. Your personal preference, the type of purchase, and your personal financial condition are a few factors to consider. If you personally have a challenge with controlling your debt, then it's likely a debit card may serve you better and help to avoid financial problems. However, if you stay within your means, a credit card can be important to your financial happiness. Most consumers can enjoy the benefits of both a debit card and a credit card. The key to good money management and financial soundness is not dictated by your choice of which card, but your spending habits. If you stay within your financial means by budgeting and making sound decisions, then as a savvy consumer, you can use both debit cards and credit cards to your advantage. All smart consumers formulate a plan for using their debit card and credit card. Several sources suggest using your debit card for day-to-day purchases, such as meals, gasoline, and small purchases at the store, and use your credit card for larger purchases and bigger ticket items. I hope we have provided you with useful information about debit cards and credit cards. If you have any questions, please contact Liberty Bank. And remember, it's your money. Make the most of it.